I spent the
There you go, Ty.
morning, noon, and I believe up until 1 p.m. playing part of a game of BitLife. I like that it's a free app. I only really heard of it through an ad I was given while playing Beat the Boss 4. At the time, I was using this Dragnikov gun in order to shoot the boss. And what attracted me about the ad was they depicted the person kind of ruin their life by acting up in class and then also insulting the principal, resulting in them getting expelled from school and being enrolled in a private school. And upon seeing that, I resolved to myself to install the app. So that my virtual person would live their best life. I figured the ingredients to that would be essentially networking, having a web of reliable friends who you can fall back to support you whenever you take some kind of risk. Dad made everything. This is his attempt at a light sort of pizza. And it's pretty good. And when he served this, he asked what drink I wanted, and I answered, "Do you have any wine?" And he laughed at that. And when he revealed through that he doesn't have any wine, I then said orange, referring to a different flavor of the vitamin water, but they're pretty much the same. And no matter what flavor you get, they're all essentially sweet-tasting water, but they're much healthier than something that tastes sweet. I don't even notice any ingredients that are notoriously used for diet sodas. All in all, it seems to be a pretty healthy way to get some vitamins. And this is a good way to get minerals, although this is the magnesium. Generally, for that, you want to take it after you've eaten some food. it's best to take it right after you're finished eating, right after you've finished either a meal or a snack. But I have at times taken it sometime after a meal, or after I've eaten part of a meal. I have done that in the past. For my first BitLife playthrough, I resolved to establish strong friendships with people with a low craziness stat. For my person, I selected a African American female, and the game randomly generated her birth location as Detroit in the United States. Before aging up, I would make sure to spend time with every family member and every friend I ended up making. And I would most years would have my character read a book. And for that activity, they had this mini game where you would tap on that image of a book in order to flip through the pages. At first, I thought that I had to go through each page slowly, but then impatience led me to discover that it doesn't matter how quickly you tap. The amount of enjoyment you get from each book is randomized. And just like most other things. In elementary school, I established some lifelong friends. I accepted the friendships the game offered to me at that stage. In middle school, I did the extracurricular activities of being on the swim team and the cross-country club. I believe I made these arrangements in the early morning to morning periods. Then in high school, I did the extracurriculars of being on both the basketball team and the soccer team. I was able to be accepted for 2 different sports on the high school level because at an early age, pretty much as early as I could, I had my character start taking Taekwondo lessons. And I think it was around the age of it was on the age of 17 that I got the black belt for Taekwondo. But then I tried starting Kung Fu lessons. but my mom wouldn't let me take Kung Fu, saying Taekwondo was all I needed. When I graduated from high school, the pro draft came up. Even though I think typically for real life professional basketball players, typically you start, in most cases, you start in high school, at the high school level, possibly even earlier. Then you play at the college level before going on to pro. But in my case, I skipped the college level. And long story short, I ended up having a 24 season career, being unofficially retired at about the age of 41 to 42 after having started a family, a female marrying another female through an LGBT dating website, using a fraternity clinic to still technically, naturally get pregnant through artificial insemination. Ended up going through with the artificial insemination 3 times, having 1 kid each time, and on the 3rd time, it was a girl. Early on in the basketball career, I wanted to practice a whole lot in order to improve my skills, because I wanted to be the best basketball player I could. The thing is, that resulted in missing a lot of games due to injuries. Sometimes physical therapy would be enough to fix it, but then other times not, and I would have to undergo surgery to fix it. I ended up becoming more cautious because I was afraid I would get an injury that surgery wouldn't be able to fix. And going to a doctor through the activities route wouldn't really be beneficial. It had to be through the career route. The first few seasons weren't very good, but then I developed this strategy of first working on my fitness. At first I thought balance meant a balanced training, fitness training, a balance of different things to work on, but no, as it turns out, it literally means balancing things such as making a tower of blocks, trying to stand on 1 foot, that sort of balance. But once I figured that out, I switched to cardio, figuring that's more important in basketball. So I would do a fitness training, followed by at first 4 skill practice sessions, but then I dropped it down to 3 as my fitness level went up. allowing for those skill practice sessions to become more effective. At least that's what I think, to at least some extent. I think the team I was released from was the team I spent the majority of my basketball career with. I avoided crime, avoided drugs, avoided doping, only got in one fight when I reported someone for game fixing, trying to always do the right thing. But I would take a more neutral stance when it came to my teammates, since I wanted... It's important to win to an extent. You need a strong team in order to bring home the championship, of which I ended up getting 5 championship rings. And on the side, I bought some real estate with the money I made, both from being a professional basketball player and from an inheritance from Dad passing away in BitLife. Real estate is less of a liability than things like cars and jewelry. In fact, I don't even know what the game classifies as a liability. I just know that my character that I controlled ended up becoming a multi-millionaire, a now famous athlete, having unofficially retired. Technically, I never retired. It's just that I was no longer offered contracts at the age of either 41 or 42. I don't have it on top of my head. In a way, age is just a number. I feel that if you consistently put in the work, you could theoretically keep playing for however long you wanted. There may come a point in which professional teams won't want to have you have a spot for you anymore, because there's this sort of sense that as you get older, there's physical deterioration. But even in my last years, I was still improving my skills. In some industries, there's a stigma against older people, and to the professional teams, they're always worried about staying competitive, and because of that desire to bring home the championships. Yeah, but I was willing to go on until my character died of natural causes, if so be. Yeah, at times I even got concerned that maybe at a certain point I wouldn't be able to maintain my skill levels within the game. But as it turns out, those fears were completely unfounded. My fifth and last championship ring, I got in my second last season, and that's probably why I got the last season contract for I think $1.2 million. I made sure to maintain all the important stats at 100% by doing activities, and I made sure to always do things with my family and friends. Though throughout it all, there ended up being quite a few ads. That's how it tends to be with free games. I recall having to pay around $5 when I first installed Bloons Tower Defense 6 over a year ago. But I must admit, I am relieved that it's an ad-free experience. I have never stopped playing the game Sword Fight on Congregate. It's just that at a certain point, it becomes difficult to find new stuff to talk about it. Since, it is an idle game. But today at last I was able to earn every rival star for the first area at least once throughout the 2 different schools I opened for that area. My current disciple is at level 1047. I just upgraded the library to level 6. That level 6 option for the library was unlocked when I got the option to upgrade the school to level 7. And that was unlocked through the award I got for earning all 54 rival stars for the first area on at least one school, non-consecutively.